Good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth Elenor. How is everyone this Monday morning, this beautiful Monday morning? I'm actually going to see if I can find me. Ah, there I am. Let's see if anyone's going to watch. So, I wanted to ask the question, who are you really? Who are you under all of your conditioning, all of the social values and morals, under the wounding, under the belief systems that you have been brought up with and may have gathered along the way? Who are you underneath all of that? It was lovely to see. I just saw some people on there. Hi, Nicolette. Hi, Stephanie. For some reason, oh, there they are. I don't know. It's so true, right, Steph? And that's what we're here to explore and to understand, because we are just a minuscule reflection of everything. We are here experiencing ourselves at the highest level that we possibly can, or not. Sometimes people are totally okay with being asleep and not understanding and just living their life, right? And that's just as needed as any other aspect. So people that are on the awakened path or a waking up can sometimes get quite judgmental of or critical or on their high horse about who they are compared to other people, right? And who what's going on in the world and the conditions of the world, and woe is the world and all of this stuff, right? But when you can really step out of that whole thing, because that is duality, right? That's when we're living in right and wrong, good and bad, and separate. We're seeing ourselves as separate. We're seeing ourselves as detached from the system, whatever this is that we're in, right? This creation that we're in. And so when you're seeing yourself separate, you are making assumptions and judgments and assessments about what is outside of yourself. And then conditioning those to how life is and how to be, and what it is that we've got to follow, and what is wrong with the world and what is wrong with our society. And we start placing these distortions. We stay in the distortion of life. We stay in the duality. But what if we are the duality? What if we are actually, the experience we're having is us learning about ourselves through breaking up into all of these different parts, so that we can experience those parts in a more comprehensive way, in a timely manner. And so imagine that we are this creator of our world. We are we have the ability to create whatever we choose, and I truly believe that this is the case. We are an aspect of a bigger system, and we are just manifesting and creating what it is that we choose to experience. And that's not new information, right? That's something that, Neil Donald Walsh says in his Conversations with God. It's something that even Jesus spoke about. We are all one. We are, we would do great works as he, and more, as he said. We are all sons and daughters of the Creator of God. And so we are all little tiny aspects. And I just heard a story that I want to share with you, like it's a little thing that really got me. And this is why I wanted to pause and reflect on who is it that you're truly being. Are you living your purpose? Are you living your fun? Are you living your life? Or are you being caught up in the conditions that are in your culture, or in your, as I said, the beliefs of the world? This is the way it is. This is the way you have to behave, right? So I want to share with you the story of Zusha. He was a mystic, and I haven't written down all of the bits. So, if you want the details, if you're a detail person and you want the details of who he is, go on Google. Zusha was a mystic way back, right? And he was on his deathbed, and his followers and his family were, came in to see him, and he was crying. And they totally freaked out, right? Because here he is, the mystic, that, like, the very person that was sharing with them what it's like to, death is not the end, and what it's like to live beyond physical death and all of these things. And so they became very concerned, oh my gosh, like, why are you crying? Why, like, you shouldn't be crying, you're freaking us out. Like, what's there to cry for? And he said, look, I want to tell you why. I want to share with you. If I'm dying, and and when I die, I go up to heaven, to the gates of heaven, and God says to me, Zusha, why were you not more like Moses? Zusha can say, I can say to God, I didn't have the same magnetism. I didn't have the leadership skills that Moses had, And if God says, Zusha, why weren't you more like Rumi? Why didn't you, have that sweet ability and magic with words? And he said, I can say to God, well, God, I'm not a poet. That's not who I am. But the reason I'm crying is because what am I going to say when God says, Zusha, why were you not more like Zusha? Why weren't you being? It makes me teary. Why were you not being yourself? Why were you not expressing what is in your heart? Why were you not living your life, your day-to-day, your intention, your purpose? Why were you not expressing every single cell the way it wanted to be expressed? And I ask that question of you. It makes you come back. What is it that you're doing in life? What are you following? Whose rules are you following? And I don't mean that as in, are you following society's rules and you really don't want to, and so therefore, or are you watching other people follow society's rules, and you feel it's your place to actually wake them up and say, this is wrong or whatever? Are you doing what's in your heart? Are you being the predominant creator in your life and living your dreams and your aspirations? And if there are conditions on the planet, no, Midnight, stay there. My cat's deciding that she wants to be close. if you, oh, nothing I do is going to stop her. If you are, now she wants my cover. If you are being conditioned by something, or you want to achieve something, and there's conditions placed on you from outside, then what is it you're going to choose to experience through that? What is it that you, are you going to feel like you've been caged? Are you going to feel like you have been distorted in some way from your truth? Or are you going to see what the implications are of both sides, whether you do this or you don't do this, and then choose from your own understanding of what it is that you want to create in the conditions that are in the world at the moment, in the different rules and morals and values and regulations that are out there at the in the world, and what is it you're going to choose, and do it from a place of your own integrity and your own values and your own ability to shine your light still as a woman. As a woman of light, are you shining your light, or are you trying to blast your way through the experience and make everybody else wrong? Because when we're fighting the system, the very act of fighting the system can be a distortion in itself, right? It can be pushing against the very nature of who we are. And if we are all from the same, ability, we're in that same oneness, we're all part of the one whole, then you're fighting yourself. So what is it that you really want to create? What is it that you want to experience? What fun do you want to have? What joys do you want to experience? What love do you want to experience? What sort of health do you want to experience? Are you connected to your body and how your body's feeling? Are you connected to the day and the weather and how you feel about your surroundings, your environment? What are you doing when it comes to, do you feel comfortable in that conditions? Good morning, Janine and Irene. I'm just looking for the first time, maybe not the first time, but I thought I'd go live and actually see people. What is it that you're choosing? Because we can very easily get caught up in trying to be like other people and trying to be, hold the values or the morals of the, country that we're in, or the family that we're in, and it can be so deeply ingrained within us that we don't even recognize that it's not necessarily what we choose, what we want to experience. And the more of us that start experiencing who we are, and that's what awareness is, right? Awareness is being present to who it is you are inside, what the being that chose to come down and experience being Elizabeth, I put your name in there, what did that being choose to experience? What is it that's really here for you to tap into? And what's holding you back from that? So, as with anything, I ask you to, or invite you to just think about that. What is it that you feel like you're here for? Are you honoring that and choosing to play full out and experience that? And what's holding you back? And the things that are holding you back, are they your own thoughts? Are they your family's conditions that were placed on you? Are they your cultural experiences, the values of your culture, rules and regulations of this is the way it has to be done? Are they beliefs from the world? Because if we are all that is, and we have the ability to tap into that and be part of a higher purpose, then we start recognizing that all of those conditions and responses and distortions in life are all just part of the experience of understanding who we are, and we can engage in them, or we can see them for what they are and recognize them for what they are, and then choose to be in alignment with the light, alignment with the way of life, in alignment with our calling, in alignment with our joy, in alignment with our guides and you know, those that are in unison with us to create what it is that we choose to create and to experience what we choose to experience here. So next time you're judging somebody else for being themselves, stop and think, what is it that you're really doing? Because you're judging yourself. When you're judging somebody else, then you've got a judgment of who you are. So when I ask you to think about just being, what does that mean to you? And do you know who are you underneath all of this? I was reflecting on the weekend of the 7 years of past life regression training that I did in my late or mid-20s. I think it was mid-20s to, you know, going into my early 30s. And some of the experiences that I was having in that, you know, weren't necessarily past lives, but you know, they once I'd gone through quite a few past lives and started leveling up in a way into different realms. I want to share a story, and I don't know if I've shared it before or not on public. I've shared it with my clients in our private group, but I don't know if I've shared it in public. So there was this one time, once you understand that you're a light being, it really starts changing your ability to interact with what we would perceive as darkness, right? So many people get concerned about the dark and you know, things that are of the dark, and they become fearful of it. But when you're in the light, the dark has no place there, right? So it's just the opposite of the light. It's just another facet of this whole experience that we're having. And so you can love the dark as well. So that's what happened in this experience that I had. So here I was. I went into a regression session, and I found myself in Lucifer's cave. And here, it was the typical, whether I made this up or not, who's to know, right? Typical, dungeon-looking sort of experience, and there was molten lava, and there was, there was these decrepit, very withered and emancipated sort of people or beings, and they all had, chains around their legs, and they were doing pickaxe things and doing slavery, right? They were slaves. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and so I walked in, and the very first thing I said, I spoke to all of them, and I said, you don't have to be here. This is a choice. You can decide not to be here. Which is, I would say to everyone, is exactly what I would say if you're in an experience that you're not enjoying. You don't have to be in that experience. You can choose differently, right? May take us a little bit longer here on earth because there's a time difference, like we've got to go through the time, but you can make a choice inside instantly not to experience it the way you're experiencing it. So getting back to the story, I said, you don't have to be here. This is a choice. You can make a different decision. And I would say 3/4 of the beings, the people, the humans, or whatever they were, didn't take much notice of it, just all disappeared instantly, right? As soon as they realized they had a choice, bang, gone. Well, from the back of this cave came this blood-curdling roar, right? This massive, scary, over-the-top, screaming roar. And lost the plot. This energy came at me and said, what are you effing doing in my house? Get the F out of my house. And just lost it, right? And here comes this massive demon-looking thing out of the back of the cave. And I'm this tiny little thing in my light body, and I say to him, well, wait a minute, the laws of the universe, as well as I am, as well as I do, that this is a co-creation. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't have agreed as well. So why am I here? Well, he was furious. He was furious that I knew that, right? And that I wasn't there was no fear in my body. There was no fear in me with him, carrying on the way he was. And through that he roared again, but he shrunk. So we went on for a while like this, but every time I would explain, I just want to understand, why am I here? You tell me. Every time he would shrink. He tried to eat me at one stage, and I'm like, that's not going to work. I'm in my light body, this is not, we need to have an arrangement here, and so he got smaller and smaller the more I stayed being myself and in my center, and just let the whole process go through. And as he got smaller, you saw that there was this massive throne behind him, and he was sitting on this throne. And he got smaller and smaller and smaller, and he ended up being this beautiful little baby on the throne. And my heart just melted, here was this precious being, innocence. Here was this precious being that had, chosen a different path to me. This was his purpose, to be, scary and distorted and create confusion in people and chaos in their ability to understand who they are. That's just his purpose. And so here he was as this little tiny being, and I went, oh, he's so beautiful, you know, and I picked him up, and before I even knew what was going on, my hands went forward or towards me, and I put him in my heart. And as I put him in my heart, I recognized, I'm like, oh my gosh, he is me. He is me. So when you are coming from a higher perspective, when you recognize that everything is one, you recognize that that is you too. That you are it all. You are individualized. So I'm not saying Elizabeth is all, or whoever's on here listening is all. We are an aspect of the all, but we have within us, because we are the sons and daughters of, we have this genetic pathway, if you will. We've got this soul lineage, if you will. We've got this like ray of energy that we can follow back to the source. It's part of that energy that's inside of you that pushes you forward into greatness, into your purpose, into your ability to be more than what you may be experiencing now. Those little nudges inside. Hey, maybe you could try this. Hey, why don't you experience this? Why don't you go do that? Whatever it is, those little gentle nudges that move you gently forward, that we often, because of our conditioning, because of our rules and regulations, the way of being here on the planet, and the distortion that we are separate from everything else, we often don't listen to that beautiful gentle nudge forward. We often are scared of that because it's not in our makeup to step out of our comfort zone. It's not in our physical genetic makeup, or like there's a lineage of people that have come before us that didn't do it that way, right? And so we have these gentle nudges. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? And we often don't listen to it, because those things that are not listening are the distortion that we are somehow have to survive, because this is all there is, and this is how to be, and we are separate. But there is so much more to be had when we listen to that gentle nudge, that little gathering of information. Come this way, come this way. And that's what I would encourage, and I invite you to listen to that voice, that part of you, that insightfulness, that energy that wants you to experience being way more than what you are experiencing now. Every Monday morning, I am doing a Manifest Your Magical Week meditation. I was going to live stream it into Women of Light Facebook group, and I decided not to. So it's not recorded and it's not live streamed, but it's a group of women getting together. I take everyone through a meditation to really stay focused on what it is that you want to create. Being in it now, experiencing it now, bringing what it is you want to create into the now moment, and stepping into that in every moment of the next week, so that you're moving forward, you're staying tuned, you're staying aligned with what it is that you choose to create. So if you're interested in finding out how to be part of that, we have a nice little group that joins every Monday morning. And as I said, it's not recorded, it's not live streamed, it's just a little sacred space of intimacy for women to focus forward on their dreams and their visions. Then just put in the chat here, yes please, and we will send you the link. so that you can be part of that. Thank you for watching and listening, and whatever you're doing for today, I hope it's full of joy and love and gratitude for being alive and having the experience of being separate. Be okay with whatever's going on and choose more. Choose to be more of who you are. Choose to experience being you. What does that mean? What does it mean to be me? What fun can I have? What joys can I bring? And that's me for this week. Take care, everyone.